All right, so sit back, relax, I would have some coconut water or some juice. Maybe you want to have a beer. Or I don't know what you're drinking, but relax. It's time to relax. We're talking today about the, discrepancy, this chasm that opens up more and more between technology / AI and culture. And I'm going to argue why I believe it is, especially right now, even more important than ever to refocus on culture, to refocus on our people that really are the reason why our company, our small medium enterprise, our Fortune 500 company, our startup, small business thrives or not. Right? So sit back, relax. If you're a CEO, a CHRO, people leader, learning expert. My name is Sebastian Wichmann. I'm a learning and development expert. I've been so for the last 15 years. We started up working in-house for larger Fortune 500 companies and eventually moved into the executive development field, where I, for many years, developed cultural transformation programs for one of the biggest companies, or for some of the biggest companies in the world. Right? So I hope I can provide some value here. And I've been in the game, I've been there, done that. I've probably initiated and executed learning intervention by now well beyond $20 million US. So I've thoroughly explored this area. And let's talk about culture today. Let's talk about this chasm that opens up between AI, between technology on one hand, and between the culture that I believe we need to offset against this massive, accelerated growth that AI and technology right now is going through. And when I was thinking about that as part of a podcast I ran just the other week, I thought back when I was working for Sony in the early 2000s, right? And I remember that email just was a thing, right? In really early 2000, literally 2000, 2001, right? Email just emerged. And just reflecting back upon this, I have so many conversations with senior executives, with management teams, where I say, get off your butt. Let's talk to people again. Pick up the phone, let's talk to people. At least send them a voice message, send them a visual via Loom or whatever it is. Let's not hide behind emails. It is so disconnecting. We're living in this totally disconnected world where I feel like we have partially or totally forgotten what it really means to build relationships, to build collaboration, to pull on the same rope, to pull on the same string to get that ship moving, right? Culturally, operationally, strategically, and so on. So I would say, and I would argue that it started with, let's say, the emails 25 years ago, right? Where slowly this disconnect started to emerge, where we suddenly had that technology that says, okay, let's just type a couple of things in and let's not talk in person. Let's not look at each other in the eyes, so to speak, building a genuine connection. And instead, let's just do it quickly and write an email. And it's all great, but we have to do that in an equilibrium, in a balanced way, right? We cannot discard the power of building relationships, of building culture, of looking somebody in the eye and saying, hey, I care about you. What's the problem? Let's solve it together, right? So let me draw a couple of things down, and you already understand, what that causes, right? Us not kind of reshifting the focus, right? If we have huge investments right now going into AI, going into technology, we need to also elevate and up the ante on the other side around culture to find this equilibrium in those two worlds, right? So here are a couple of things I want to draw down. So we have a vertical axle. All right, this really is the investments. Either into culture or into technology. And I say or because these are the two forces that I feel arguably are opposing forces, right? Technology disconnects because we lose this ability to look into each other's eye and deeply connect. And yet we need technology so to be able to leverage, right? And to create systems and processes and all that, okay? So of course both is needed, but where's the midpoint? That's my argument here, right? And then on the horizontal axle, we have time, right? And so let's just say culture being green, and AI being red. Technology, right? And now red and green really doesn't mean anything here. There's no right and wrong, but you get my point, yeah? Now, I would argue that what happened over time is the cultural curve emerged within the company and kind of flattened out over time. Yeah. Now, there are different scenarios. Some companies, they keep investing. I get it. There are even countries that have more of a focus on the understanding that culture is super important and the importance around investing into your people. Some nations, believe it or not, they have a bigger focus on that than others, right? And the US, UK are certainly some of the nations who focus intensely on cultural development and people development for sure, and they're willing to spend the money. Right? So, you know, some companies, they keep growing, of course. Some companies go into reduction, right? Of course, we know that as well. You know, what gets cut first when there are financial pressures, right? Usually learning development, right? The development to people, the very thing that I believe is what a company is, which is a bunch of people with a bunch of brains, right? So, you know, in moment of pressure, we have two options. We either expand or we contract, right? And I'm a big believer in the moment of pressure to expand for sure. And then, you know, later on, right, we had an AI emerge, right? Now, and this is not research or there are no sort of data points, but let's say that this happened roughly around 2023, right? And where are we right now? Let's say we are right now at 2025. And we see this gap has significantly widened. So, you know, I would encourage you to just think about this a little bit, right? Do you believe the way I do that as we continue and even grow the investments into technology and into AI, that we also want to look at offsetting this energetic push into this direction with an opposing force to say, okay, when we expand this area, we also need to expand in the other area, which is human connection, real human one-on-one connection, real human one-to-many connections. I don't think there's an argument against this, or I don't see an argument where this is, where in the world exists where this is not true. AI will mean, in my very point of view, that the actual human connection will become even more important because we lose it. We have lost it already. We will have to push even further into human connection as AI developed. This is whole piece around, co-creation, right, between AI and human, where we want to co-create a utopia, right? We want to co-create a life that we are inspired to live by. And we don't want to do that in an isolated manner. So have a think about this and maybe take this thought or conversation into your next meetings, board meetings. I think we have a huge responsibility here, not just to satisfy our shareholders, but really to satisfy our stakeholders, which are our employees, our vendors, our suppliers, even our environment we live in, right? I really believe that we have a responsibility as a business owner, as a leader, as a people leader, to see business as a tool to be a force for good. How do you conduct yourself, right? And not to say that we do any bad, we have all the best intentions in mind, of course. And I very much believe in you, and I very much know that, you act in the best interest of what you want or what you see best fits the company. But I hope this message inspired you to really contemplate on what the balance or the midpoint is right now for your organization between culture and technology. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, I would love you to leave a comment. Speak about your good and bad, even the ugly stories where you have not seen yourself or your team act in the best interest of culture, and be vulnerable, be upfront, be transparent, right? Like the video if you liked it, dislike the video if you didn't like it. Help me to understand what you want to listen to and hear about. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well for more conversations in the context of podcasts with CEOs, CHROs, people leaders, where we talk about a culture and how to cultivate culture within the business world. And I see you at the next video.